Good morning, dear all. Today we are going to start our first chapter of history, and in this chapter we are going to discuss about. You can see the name is given here: where, when, and how. The very simple meaning of these three terms is: where means in which place, when means the time, and how means the situation or the circumstance under which different incidents took place in the past. And as you know, history, it means the study of our past, the different events which took place, the different foreign invaders who came to our country. And also we're going to discuss mainly about the medieval India, the time frame of medieval India in this chapter. Now, terms used for the Indian subcontinent. As all of you know that India at present time, it is a very small country, you can say, but in ancient time this India, it was comprised of 6 different other countries. The Indian subcontinent was comprised of present 6 countries. What are the 6 countries? Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, India, and Bangladesh. These all the countries together, they formed a single country, and that was known as India. You can see, as you can see in page number 3 of your history book, this is the map. It is given here about the Indian subcontinent, which comprised of all these 6 countries. This is the present India. You can see it is in yellow color. This yellow color, this is the present India. But in ancient time, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, these also are a part of our country. You can also see in the map that the southern part of our country, this is the southern part, this is covered by the ocean. At the bottom part, Indian Ocean is there. Right hand side, you can say Bay of Bengal is there, and in the left hand side, Arabian Sea is there. And if we'll think about the northern part of our country, it is surrounded by the mighty Himalayas. Now we are going to study about, or we are going to know about the different names which were given to our country during different times. History gave the names Aryadesh. We can say our country was given 2 names by the different historians. One is Aryadesh and second one is Brahmarashtra. Both these names were given during different times by the historians. It were the Achaemenian Persians, the Persian invaders. They also came to our country, and they were the people who first applied the name India. Let me show you the picture of the Achaemenian Persians. As you can see here in the picture, they were the Persian people. They invaded our country, and when they came to India, they used the term India for the first time for our country. After the Achaemenian Persians, the Buddhist. When Buddhism was introduced into China, you know that Buddhism, this was the religion which was founded by Gautam Buddha, and from India the religion of Buddhism was taken into China. And when Buddhism spread or introduced in China, at that time the Chinese people, they used again one new term, that is Tianchu. This Tianchu was the term used by the Chinese for our country. After Yuan-Shang's visit, Yuan-Shang, I hope you know who was Yuan-Shang. He was one Chinese traveler, Chinese pilgrim who came to our country, and when he visited our country, then another term was used for India, and that was Yantu. And the meaning of this word Yantu is moon. In Chinese language, it means moon. And this Yantu term, it was used for India after the visit of Yuan-Shang. That's about the different names which were given to our country during different times. Now, we are going to discuss about the time frame of the medieval period of Indian history. As I already told you that in this chapter, mainly we shall be dealing with the medieval period, its classification, and how it was fixed, why it was fixed. These things we are going to discuss. We can say mainly the history of any country can be divided into 3 types. One is ancient time, one is medieval time, another one is modern time. In our country, ancient time is regarded before the 8th century. That means from the starting of the 8th century up to the 18th century is known as the medieval period, and after the 18th century, that period is known as the modern period, when the British rule our country. We can also say medieval period, it is divided into two parts. One is known as early medieval period and second one is known as later medieval period. Early medieval period, it was fixed between 8th century to 13th century, and later medieval period, it was fixed between 13th century to 18th century. Now question comes, what makes the medieval period different from the ancient period and the modern period? About these different reasons are given or provided by the historians. We are going to study one by one. You can see here reasons to fix the medieval period between 8th century to 18th century. What is the actual reason behind it? The first point, about this period, sufficient historical material is available as compared to the ancient period. Historical material, I'll be explaining you later on in this chapter. We can say different types of information about the medieval period is more if we'll compare with the ancient period. That means the sources of history of ancient period is less, but the sources of history about the medieval period is more. Second point is given, most of the languages of present time like Hindi and Urdu developed during this period. As we already got that medieval period is fixed between 8th century to 18th century. This is the time period of medieval period in India, and we can say most of our present languages, like Hindi, it's our national language, Urdu is another language, all these types of languages, they developed during the period of 8th to 18th century. Third point is given, our dressing style and food habit bear a clear impact of this period. That means whatever dressing style we follow at present time and our food habit, it also has got a similarity with that of the period of 8th century to 18th century. The fourth one is given, the true Indian culture developed with the fusion of the Hindu and the Muslim cultural traits. We can say that India is a land of diversity. Different religions are here in our country, and the most important two religions of India is Hindu and Muslim. And we can say that during 8th century to 18th century, this Hindu and Muslim cultural things were mixed up and the true Indian culture developed. The last one is here, the institution of well-minted currency led to economic development of the country. What is the meaning of well-minted currency? That means coins. The system of coinage, it was also developed during the period of 8th century to 18th century, and that's the reason why we can say that 8th century and 18th century is fixed as the medieval period in our country. Alright, now we are going to discuss about the historical sources. What is the meaning of historical sources? Means the sources from where we can know about the history or about the time. We can say historical sources can broadly be classified into two types. One is archaeological sources, which means the non-written sources. All the non-written sources, they comes under the archaeological sources. And second one is written sources. They are also known as the literary sources. All the written sources of history are known as the literary sources. You can see here, archaeological sources can be classified into three types. Ancient buildings, the buildings which are constructed during different times by the different rulers. We can say about the inscriptions, and the third one is about coins. One by one I'm going to explain later on. This is the main classification of archaeological sources: ancient building, inscriptions and coins. And literary sources also can be classified into three types. One is autobiographies, one is chronicles, and one is documents. The simple meaning of autobiography is the account of a person's life written by himself. Chronicles means a series of different books. At present time different comics are there in series wise. During ancient time and medieval period also different chronicles were published. And the documents are the official records of the different rulers. Now, as you already got, archaeological sources can be classified into three: ancient buildings, inscriptions and coins. Let's study one by one. First of all, ancient buildings. I already told you the ancient buildings, that means the different types of buildings, including the fort, including the different pillars, including the different temples which were made by the different rulers during different times, is also one source of history. Like temples, for example, Khajuraho and Konark. You can see in the picture, it is shown here, the Khajuraho temple and the Konark Sun temple forts. Example, the Red Fort, the Chittor Fort. It's here in the picture. You can see the pillars, the famous pillars like the Qutub Minar, the palaces like Jaipur Palace. These all are the different ancient buildings from where we can know about the medieval period. Next comes inscription. Inscriptions. Nowadays, you know that we can take the pen and pencil and we can write on the paper. But in medieval period, the different scholars, they used to note down different things on stone plates or copper plates. You can see in the picture, those are known as the inscriptions. These are found on stones or plates of copper, and they provide information about different aspects of the early medieval period. As you can see in the picture about the different inscriptions, these inscriptions, they tell us about the important events, about important dates, about the personal qualities of the different rulers, and we can say that inscriptions are also one source of historical knowledge. The third one is about coins. They throw light on important dates and important historical personalities. They also tell us about the economic condition of the country at that particular time. As you can see in the picture, coins, they are of different shapes, different sizes, and they are also made of different metals. So from the study of the coins, it is known as numismatics. You will get in some other chapters. So from this study of the coins, we can easily understand about the different historical personalities as well as the economic condition of the country. So that is about the different types of archaeological sources. Now we are going to discuss about the different subclassification of the literary sources. As I already told you before some time, the first type or category of literary sources is autobiographies. The autobiographies are the different written documents by the different rulers or the different scholars. For example, we can know or we can get to know details during their time. From the autobiographies, if we study the autobiographies, we can easily understand about the society, about the economic condition of the country during the different rulers. For example, if we will go through Babar is the autobiography of Babur. I hope everybody knows Babur. He was one of the Mughal ruler. It is there in some other chapters of your history book. I shall be explaining in detail at that time. For now, Babarnama or Akbarnama, which was written by Akbar, we can know about the time of those particular rulers. Next come chronicles. These are the series of some books which give us the detailed accounts of certain rulers period by period. Here you can see in the picture, I have tried to show you one chronicle series of book, and from those chronicles, we can easily understand about the time or about the rules, about the regulations, about the society of different rulers during different times. The third one is about documents. Documents means the different records which are kept by the different officials. Some official documents prepared by certain rulers also tell us the different aspects of different times. You can see I have tried to show you one document. Here you can see that some officials during the medieval period, they kept the record, and those records are known as the documents, which are also one source of literary sources of history. Besides, all these different other sources are also there, like we can say accounts of foreign travelers. In the beginning, I told you that different foreign travelers, they visited our country during different times, and after visiting our country, they gave a description of their visit, of what they noticed in our country. That is also one source of history. Writings of the different foreign travelers who visited our country during the medieval period, it is known as accounts of foreign travelers. For example, Ibn Battuta, you can see in the picture, he was one foreign traveler who came to our country during different periods and gave us information about the medieval period. Like Ibn Battuta, Yuan-sang was also there, who was one Chinese traveler. You can see in the picture of Yuan-sang. He visited our country and gave us different information about the medieval India. Next one is paintings. I hope everybody of you are fond of paintings, and these paintings are also one source of history. The paintings which were created during the medieval period also help us to understand about the medieval period. The different tools which were used for creating these paintings are also a source of historical knowledge. The last one is here about music. Different types of musics are there. This music also is a source of historical knowledge. The music which were produced by the medieval musicians also help us to know about the period. For example, you can see the picture of Tansen. I hope everybody knows who was Tansen. He was one of the 9 gems who adorned the court of Akbar. And Tansen, he got such a good quality of music that it is said he could bring rain, or even he could also stop rain through his music. So if we'll go through the life story of Tansen, we can easily understand about that particular time when Akbar was the ruler, and we can say that's also one source of historical knowledge. So the chapter is completed. Now I'm going to give you some homework. You need to do the homework in time and you need to send it to me. You can see this is the homework. 2 questions are given. Both you have to do properly in your copy and you have to send it to me. Thank you.